Recently, I tried 100% speedrunning Schedule 1, and that's what we're going over today. Now, don't mind the face cam because I did do this while doing a live stream, and also don't mind whatever was going on with my hair that day. But we're going to start out this speedrun by watering our beautiful flowers and then heading out our RV. Now, in Schedule 1 to 100% this game, we need to complete all missions, get all customers and dealers unlocked, and get all properties and businesses unlocked. So a lot of that does cost money. And then a secondary objective we're doing is also getting all achievements. So yes, I will be doing the achievement where you need $10 million. And to start out, what we're going to do is punch one of those police. That way we can get them to follow us, because our beginning way of getting money is going to be selling guns. So I punch one, they're now following me, and then I can go over here where I get this baseball bat. And as long as you keep hitting them with the bat fast enough, they're not going to be able to cuff you or take you out. So we're going to defeat both of them, and we're going to be taking their guns. That's 2 guns right now, and there always will be 2 more cops that come after them. So there's this person, they're driving over, they're not very good at driving, but I take her out as well. That time her body is actually going to twist. And yeah, twisting is really weird. I don't know why it happens, but it's a little bit harder to pickpocket when they do twist, because normally you always know that you can pickpocket them on the back, but if they twist, sometimes it will be the front. It's just something to consider. After that, I'm going to list some flowers for this price of $45 and put them on the market before now heading over and kind of just waiting out this wanted dead or alive. So while I am waiting, I can come over to the pawn shop and we're going to drop off all these guns. That way our inventory is clear, only keeping our bat, and we can head back in this direction because we want to go and find some more cops. So I see these guys. I want to make sure they don't notice me until my wanted level is done, and as soon as I am rid of my wanted level, we can start hitting them as well. And the reason we wanted to wait is that way more cops will come and start attacking us too. If you hit them too early, then 2 more cops won't come towards you immediately. So by doing it that way, we see these guys, one of them flipped their car. I don't even know what's going on with that, but we can go with this person, use our guns again, and this person as well who's trying to shoot me back. Kind of a jerk. Not sure why you would do that, but this is going to be 4 more guns, which is going to be a lot more money for us, which means we only have to deal with 2 more cops. I can now head over here. We can take this dead drop, and I did get a text from Kyle because we did put our flowers up for sale, and Kyle is a person we very much need, but we're actually going to be talking to him later. For right now, I need to go if these guys didn't actually take out that first dude, but that's going to be a total of 10 guns we now have in our possessions or in the dead drops. As well, I'm making sure I'm picking up these dead drops too that just have money in them, because the money situation in this early game is very specific. I want to be very sure that I have enough money to actually be able to continue this run. You'll see why in just a second, but now we can come over to the pawn shop, and while I'm waiting for the wanted level to go down, I can take one of those sodas, but you can't actually sell anything to this guy until your wanted level is gone. So as soon as that's done, I'm going to sell 5 of these guns for $3,950. Now, sometimes this guy's going to take it, sometimes he won't. That time he tried to scam me. So I'm just going to quit out and go back in, sell the exact same guns and do the exact same thing. And a lot of the times he will then give you the deal, which is really funny. You just have to try again. And he's like, oh, I guess I'll do it this time. I don't know. But we're going to do the same with the guns that are in our dead drop. Same price of $3,950. And he's going to accept both of them. Then I can take our soda, and this is both going to heal you and it makes you run a little bit faster, so that's why we want it for now. But we can take this money we just got over to the skateboard shop, where there's going to be this guy. If I can actually get in there, what you have to do is crouch jump in this place, and then we're going to buy 5 golden skateboards, which that itself is going to be one of our achievements. But I can just keep going through buying these skateboards, and it's going to cost me a good amount of money, but the thing is we can take that money back by hitting this guy with our bat. So I'll turn him over. I just take all the money we just spent on those skateboards. Thank you very much. And skateboards are a nice thing for movement, but I'm mostly going to use them in this beginning game just to sell. We will use it for movement later on, but like I said, the money situation is very specific, so I can sell 5 of these guys, and this time we're going to sell them for $5,850. And just like last time, we have to hope he's actually going to accept, and we got some pretty good luck with that dude this time. After that, I am going to put both my bat and the watering can in that dead drop, and we can go to this ATM where we can deposit the maximum of $10,000. Now in this game, to buy anything like businesses or stuff not gotten through criminal means, you have to have money in your bank, because the money we have on hand is suspicious. So we can either deposit up to $10,000 a week, or we can also launder money. So we're going to be doing both of those, and with our first $10,000, we can come over to this real estate person, and we're going to buy a business. We're going to buy the post office, and that's going to allow us to launder money. So we can head right over there, head into the business, and we can launder the maximum of $4,000 today. That way we can buy another business tomorrow. By the way, if you end up enjoying the video, please subscribe. I'd really appreciate it. But now we can head back to the RV and get the flowers that we watered earlier. So we can take our trimmers, come up to these guys, and we're pretty much just cutting off all these different flower buds. You know, they're looking beautiful. These are going to be some beautiful bouquets. Once that is done, then our RV is going to get destroyed. So what we want to do is actually take all these materials from the RV. That way those won't get destroyed along with it. And we can throw away our extra 4 flowers because we won't really need those. Take everything from this place and we're leaving. Then as we're running through, I want to go talk to Kyle, say we'll sell him some flowers later in the night. And we also see an unnamed number, which then if we come over to one of these phones, it's going to explode our RV and we'll then get a note that says, hey, don't interfere with us. And that's going to be the achievement, welcome to Highland Point. So pretty good start so far. We have the money situation we need and a bunch of cops that are just lying on the ground dead. But next up is to actually go in this hotel. So what we're going to do is talk on the phone to Uncle Nelson again, come up to this door, talk to Donna and ask her to rent a room, which is going to cost $75 every week. So then we can come in our room and we can actually put down the suspension rack and all the stuff we got from our RV. We'll also place down this packaging station, put that stuff there for right now. Not packaged just yet because we are on a little bit of a time crunch. Put this stuff down, throw away that TV because we don't really need it anymore, and then go pick up both our watering can and our bat. Finally, we can put the watering can back in our inventory, save the game, and then hit ourselves with our bat so we die and load our last save, which we just got. And the reason we want to do this is so that we can respawn the cops and make sure they have their guns back, because before this day ends, we still need to get a bit more money. Now, how this game works involving sleeping is you can't sleep until 6 p.m. So every day we have to wait until at least then and find stuff to do. But another thing that's interesting about this game is how laundering money works. If you go to sleep right at 6 p.m., your laundering will actually end later than usual. So say we started laundering money at 7 a.m., the next day it won't be done until 9 a.m. But if you go to sleep at 7 p.m., 1 hour after you normally could, then your laundering will end right on time like you would normally expect it to. And if you go to sleep even later, your laundering will end earlier than it needs to. So for this first day, since we started our laundering so late, we're going to want to go to sleep around 10 p.m. That way our laundering ends as soon as we wake up. By the way, if that is confusing, don't worry, it confuses me too. It's just a little bug in the game, so we do have to deal with that. Basically, for this game though, what you have to expect is we're just going to go to sleep around 7 p.m. every day, except for this day. Anyways, after that, we can sell some stuff. We have some more money at this point, and like I said, we got some time to kill. And we also have some more money we need to make because we want to launder the maximum amount of money every single day. That's very important for the speedrun. So what I'm going to do right here is get 10 of these flowers, and we can head over to the deal we set up with Kyle earlier in the day. You can see on the top of the map a green handshake icon. That's how you know where your deals are going to be. So we'll come to Kyle, we'll actually give him all this stuff even though it's more than you need to, but that's going to give us a generosity bonus. And then we can go take him out, take back our flowers, which is really funny. And from Kyle, we also get a dealer, Albert, who's going to let us buy more flowers. Then we can talk to Peter because we do want to get a connection, give him a free sample, put that money in our supplier's box. That way we pay him off. So we got Peter, and then we can also get Ludwig. They all have a chance on if you're actually going to unlock them. So sometimes you will get them, sometimes you won't. This time we did. But there we go. We got people unlocked. And now while we're waiting, we're coming to the casino. And here is where most runs end. Because just like real life, it is very easy to lose all your money at the casino. So I have spent hours upon hours doing the first 12 minutes of the speedrun only for the casino to end it all. Now here, we need to get the jackpot of a 777 if we want the run to continue. And that's a less than 1% chance to get this, but we got it right there. So we're looking good. Now we have $15,000. But I don't just want one 777, I want two. And yeah, you can see why this has ended so many runs. The slot machines are terrible. And unfortunately, I figured that I probably shouldn't continue this. I did go for a while longer, but we didn't get another. So that does mean we will have to deal a little bit more with the money situation later on, but it should be fine as long as I play well. And along with playing well, I decided I need to get some more guns. So we're going to come to these different police and take them out. It's also curfew right now because we spent so long in the casino. So they're going to try to stop us regardless of anything. So I can just keep going. They're hitting each other's cars and running each other over. They're not very good cops. But I do get a ton of these guns, which is going to be more money for us. And then it's late enough to where our laundering strategy will work, so we can head right to bed. And once we wake up, immediately we want to head over to the post office where we're laundering money. And every single day you want to launder money as soon as possible, because the main thing that takes the longest in this speedrun is getting every business and every property, especially the last property, the mansion you can get, which is $250,000. So those things add up. You can see as I was running over there, our laundering from last night actually finished, and that's why we went to sleep so late. So we can set up another $4,000 of laundering, and then we can use this money that we laundered from yesterday to come back to the real estate place, and this time buy the laundromat. Laundromat is going to be right over here on this street, so we can just head in, and you are going to be able to launder less money on the laundromat than you are on the post office. We can only do $2,000 a day there, but it is important to do as soon as possible, obviously. And now we're good to go and doing anything else we want to do today. Like, we can talk to our dead drop person, and we're going to order some more flower seeds. Then we can come over to the pawn shop. We're going to pawn all these guns, of course. We are going to make less money on them, because as you pawn more of the same thing, the guy's going to offer you less and less money, which is why we don't only want to solely focus on getting guns. And we can get the dead drop that we got yesterday. It's just going to be in one of the random spots in the map. But yeah, at this point, the world is our oyster, and the only thing we're really concerned about is making enough money. That way we can launder maximum money the next day. So I'm going to go back to Albert. We're going to place some more stuff in his dead drop, and then I'm going to start looking for customers, because very soon our main strategy is actually going to be selling different flowers to people. And to do that very efficiently, what we have to do is give them these free samples and make sure that they actually like our stuff. Also, another easy source of money is, of course, getting one of these skateboards. We're going to go for the golden skateboards, but this time we're only going to actually buy 2 of them. And that's because every day other than the first day, this guy can have other stuff in his pockets. And he had 3 things in his pockets that day. So if we were to give him maximum money, then some of that money would have just disappeared. I don't really understand how it works, but yeah, the things that are already in his pockets take precedent over the stuff that he takes from us. So that's very important to consider. That way we don't lose absolutely everything. But yeah, like I said, we're just checking the map, seeing who's going to open up. And as you get new connections in this game, you find more and more people you can actually sell to. So it's kind of a compounding effect. If we get this person right here, if she does accept our sample, it's probably going to open up someone new to her. And it's pretty much just checking your map, seeing who does open up, and trying to get more and more new customers unlocked. Another thing we can do is place all this stuff back, only keep our skateboard with us. And since we have enough money, we can come into this building. Now, normally you're not supposed to be able to come into here until you have enough XP. But what you can do is a skateboard trick where you go on the skateboard and you spam E, and you're able to open here from the inside. So that's a pretty specific thing to do, but it's very funny because normally you would only be able to come in here once you're a later XP and once it's past 6 p.m. But this way we can come in here at any time of day. Now, there are a couple things I want to buy, because basically we want to start setting up our automation. So we're buying baggies, we're buying long life soil, moisture preserving jars, suspension racks, and some LED lights. That way we can set up a really good flower farm. I also want to go ahead and purchase some regular soil, because there is that gearing up mission. And of course we do have to do every single mission in the game. Now we can place this stuff down right here because we won't need it until the next day. And then back over here in my apartment, I'll get this watering can, fill it up, and pretty much just plant these plants like you normally would. We place the soil down first. It takes a while, but you just got to fill these different places up. By the way, this is all just to get missions. We're not going to make money off of any of these seeds. They don't really matter that much, but we do have to actually do this. That way the game's happy with us. And then we go ahead, put those seeds in. We go fill them with some water, you know, just kind of the normal stuff. We can package up more of our flowers in the baggies. That way we have more free samples for everybody. We can keep expanding our empire. And we can head to the payphone where we need to talk to Uncle Nelson. And he's like, hey, you should go get a dead drop. And we're like, dude, we've already been doing tons of these. What are you talking about? But we might as well buy another one, get another 10 seeds, and also go pick up the dead drop that already got delivered just by the pawn shop. And we're kind of just collecting up seeds right now. So by the time we actually start our automation, we won't have to worry about that anymore. And as soon as I do order stuff, I pretty much always want to go and place the money in their stash. That way I don't forget about it. And for pretty much the rest of the day, we're just going to find anybody we can actually give samples to and give them one. But after I ran out of people that I could give samples to, I was like, okay, we might as well try going back here, making some more money. I'm not going to lie, doing things like this has lost me a run before, which was very sad. So I don't know why I decided to come back to the casino, but I did. I mean, we did need at least $6,000 to actually be able to do all of our laundering for the next day. And surprisingly, we won a jackpot. Yeah, my luck was kind of insane and I was going to leave while I was ahead. So now I knew my money situation was very good at this point and we would not need to ever go back to the casino again, which is very good. because that means we can actually continue the run. By the way, most of the route that I'm doing for this run, I got from the speedrun of Saren Mew, one of the former world record holders of this game. So early game, I'm pretty much just following their route. And then later on, I kind of just do what I decided to do. Their link, and of course, the current world record will be in the description. Definitely recommend checking those links out. And what we did in there was buy some of those jars because that will be important. Before then, I decided to save up and load my last save. And that was because we didn't have much to do with the rest of this day. So I decided might as well use this time to get some more guns. By the way, there are several roadblocks that the cops will set up in different locations. And normally they're not too big of an issue because you can just kind of go around them. That is something to think about because if you do try to go through them, then they're going to search you, which gets kind of annoying. We'll place that dead drop right by the pawn shop. That way we can make that money later. We can get another dead drop because we just keep increasing our level of trust with Albert. And I decided to sleep a little bit past 7 p.m. That way I can make sure our laundering was done. And now we can continue on our way of going and getting our laundering very first and foremost. But today there's actually going to be a lot of stuff to do. General game plan though is just hit the laundromat first because it is the closest thing to us, at least at this current moment. Then we can head over here and also hit the post office. That gives us another $4,000. And now we do have $6,000 in our bank account. So what I want to do is actually come over to this real estate place and we're going to buy a property, this time the Stash and Dash. And here's where we're going to do the bulk of our automation. This is also a reason why we wanted so much money because there's a lot of stuff we're still going to need to do today. But one thing I do like doing at this point is getting spray paint. And normally you can only buy so much spray paint in a day. But what we can do is actually come over to our cart and increase the spray paint level by just doing it on the cart. And that lets you buy more spray paint than usual. So I was able to purchase 70 right there. And first, there is an achievement to spray paint at least 25 different places in a single save. And then another nice thing about spray paint is it lowers the level of the cartel's influence in a certain area, which we'll be getting to later. I'm not going to talk about just yet. But just like usual, give Albert his money. Don't mind if I do. Order another dead drop because we always want another one of these going on. And then we can give him his money again as soon as we order it, which is pretty funny. And we can actually get the seeds that we got. And yeah, pretty much I'm just trying to prepare everything to actually start up our automation, and seeds are going to be a very important part of that. So I'm going to place these spray paints over here by the motel office, and then I'm going to go through my storage racks and take anything that's important, like the soil, the seeds, anything we need for our farm. We can also head down here, which is going to be Dan's hardware. I'm going to leave a couple things right here for now because I did realize we also needed to get a couple things from here. Specifically, you need 6 large storage racks and 3 lockers. And I thought might as well get some fertilizer as well. We'll buy $16 worth of that. Dan tries to talk to us about something. I don't really care what you have to say, Dan. But we did spend all the money in our bank account, so that's all the legal money we're actually able to spend at this point. But it is the perfect amount of money because now we can start setting up our automation. Now, this is a very small room, meaning we have to be very specific with where we set things. So I'm going to place my lockers right there in that formation, and then I'm going to place this large storage rack, which is going to have everything we use for the plants. Then I'm going to put those 5 storage racks there as well, place our extra stuff, at least for now, just as a holding place. And what is going on with those cars? That was kind of insane. I forgot that happened from when I did the run. I'm not going to lie. Anyways, after that, we can come bring some other stuff, keep placing all of our plant stuff on the large storage racks. And then we want to place these pots in a kind of specific formation. I mean, it's not too bad. You just want to maximize as much space as possible. So I'm placing those guys first. We only have 10 of them. And then we're going to go back over, get our other materials, some of which are in this area, like our packaging station and our jars, our seeds, that kind of stuff, which I like to place my jars in this middle rack. We'll put our packaging station right there. We'll put our extra seeds over here because might as well. And then we want to head back into the warehouse using the same skateboard clip as before. And all our extra stuff is going to be on this delivery bay. And then after that, we actually want to hire people. So I'm going to come up to this guy and we want to hire 2 botanists, which we put over towards the Stash and Dash. And we're also going to hire 1 handler. The botanists are going to be able to actually plant the plants, and the handler can move stuff around and do things like packaging. So they're all going to be just standing right there, and I will deal with them later. But first of all, I do have to place all this stuff down, like we're going to place these suspension racks above the pots. Then I'm also going to put down my extra pots as well in this area. We can place their suspension racks over them as well, and we can put all of our LED grow lights above them. So now we're going to get pretty good quality product. And we can now start setting up the automation. So I'm going to bring a botanist over, give them a locker, because that's where they're going to be able to take their money from, put them towards the large storage rack, that's where they'll get their supplies, and put them in charge of 8 pots each. So you just go through with your clipboard and do that nice and easy. And then we can go and select all 16 pots in this room. And by pressing E to manage, I can say that we want to give them those flower seeds with the fertilizer, and we're going to put them on this shelf. So as soon as their flowers are done, they're going to go right on that shelf, which we can use and package up. I also have to give them some money. So right now I'm not going to give them too much money because we are a little bit low on money, but everybody will put like $600 in their lockers. Botanists only need $200 a day. And then the handler, I believe, needs $200 or $300. It's such low amount of money. That's not the biggest deal. But with him, I'm going to say you're in charge of the packaging station, and you're also going to move our stuff from the storage over to that packaging station. And then the stuff, once it's done, is going to go towards another storage rack. So now basically he's going to move both the flowers and the jars over towards the packaging station whenever he needs to. And then he'll move the stuff from the jars back towards another rack. That way we can collect them whenever we want. And this is going to give us a ton of plants, which is going to be very important to make a lot of money. So that's all the automation we need to do for today. And just like last time, we just find other stuff to do with the rest of our day. Like, we might as well head over to the skateboard shop, make some more money off these, because they're always going to be pretty high value stuff, especially because you can make your money back. Now, biggest thing for me today is I want to make sure I have at least $6,000 when we end the day. So we can head back to the pawn shop. With this stuff first, we're going to sell a gun along with 2 of our skateboards, and we can sell those for about $2,300. I'm kind of just guessing on these prices. I don't have an exact amount. And we can also get these other guns that we got before. And with these guys, we're able to make around $3,000. So we have our $6,000 we need by tomorrow. Other than that, pretty normal stuff. We're just going to go get our dead drops, do all that kind of stuff. Just make sure we keep getting more seeds. And we can also do the gearing up mission, as you saw, by just watering one of those plants. And I pretty much just waited until 7 p.m. to go back to sleep, which is going to open up a new area for us, which is Westville. So that means new potential customers we can get. But you already know how we're starting our day, with some laundering money. And then from there, just some normal stuff. I'm just going to find more customers, give them free samples, and yeah, just hopefully get more and more customers as we go through. Always takes them a while to decide, but this time, Molly, you jerk. There's a 77% chance you liked it. But starting tomorrow, we're actually going to be able to sell our flowers to people and making a ton of money. We're never going to have to worry about money again, but we got to make it there first. So yeah, I still do need another $6,000 today. Also, one thing I will make sure I do is keep picking up more things like fertilizer from the shops. It's very important to just keep this farm going. So pretty much anytime I do need to restock, I will. Same for soil and same for seeds. I can also actually help this come along myself. I picked up some electric clippers and we can use those just by ourselves. That way our dude can package them earlier on. Because while the workers are nice, they are kind of slow. So at least early game, while I don't have much else to do, why not help them out? And with that, our handler is just putting all of these things into their jars, which is nice. And I also saw I got some blue quality stuff. I want to stick with the purple quality because it is better. And just so we have more of a consistent source. So we can use that blue quality if we need, but I'm not going to worry about it too much. As long as things get fertilizer on them, they should be purple quality. And another thing, while we are waiting, we do need some more money. So I'm going to die again. And that allows us to go and take out some more cops. You know, just kind of more of the regular stuff, which I actually got busted. I forgot that happened there. I mean, that is an achievement because you do need to get busted. And we didn't lose anything because we didn't have any flowers or in our inventory. So it's not like it's the biggest deal in the world. Just kind of funny it happened there. Anyways, we just have this huge pile of cops that we're gonna leave there for a second because we also want to come over towards these guys and take them out too. You know, just the more guns the merrier. That way I actually have the $6,000 I need. We also had more guns than I could actually fit in my inventory. So this is where I did this fun thing where you can actually pick up the police and then realize that you didn't pick them up. But afterwards you can pick up the police and you can drag them on the floor because yeah, we're just moving this guy's dead body with us. That way we can have those extra guns as well. And there's some more cops over here that we can see that noticed us, so we can take them out too. Pretty much same thing, just shoot them. And this is now tons of guns that we can sell to the pawn shop. I also made sure I healed up by getting one of those sodas. And we could start selling over these guns, which we actually got very good prices on these. I was very surprised. I didn't even try to haggle with them because I was like, oh, that's more than enough money. And then we just take all of the other guns from this guy. And yeah, now that's $12,000. We are good on that stuff. And then we can go pay off our dead drop, then take back that money, order another dead drop. But we see that we actually get a text from him that says, hey, if you want to, we can now meet up. And that's perfect for us because you can buy more seeds at a single time. Before, we just bought so little at a time and it's not very fun. But that's going to help us a lot just with being a lot more consistent. And we can also see that we've started getting these jars. We have over 20 jars at this point, and what we want is a full set of 3 jars. So that's 60 jars in total. That's why we bought that many jars in the past. And that means we can also start setting up deals. Our customers that we gave free samples to every now and then will text us and be like, hey, can I buy some stuff? And we can set them up for later in the day, just like it's pretty obvious. And that's going to be our main way of making money in this later game. Oh yeah, also another thing, one of the missions we need to do is filling up this trash, bringing a trash bag, then picking up that trash bag and placing it outside just on the ground. And I also will use my electric plant trimmers just so we have some more sample stuff, because as we go forward, we're just going to need to get more and more samples and just get more and more customers. Now, as you get more customers, you also lower the cartel's influence. We haven't even met the cartel yet, which is kind of funny, but you do lower their influence. And you need to get one area's influence down from 1,000 to only 300 to unlock the next area. So giving people samples, getting them to order from us, and also spray painting are going to be our main ways of doing that. Not really something I'm going to explain too thoroughly. You kind of just unlock them as you play more of the game. But once it's around 7 p.m., what I'm going to do is schedule a bunch of the deals I got on my phone. So we'll have like 5 of those when we're ready to wake up and set them for the afternoon. Then we can head to bed just like normal. And finally, it's time to actually make some money. You know, after we do our daily laundering. You can't ever forget about that. Our next business, by the way, will be gotten with $20,000. So we're pretty close to that. And while we're waiting to do our deals, might as well just go fill out some more free samples and also do some spray painting. So like I said, you need to spray paint at least 25 different places on the map. And a way to see where those are is just holding a can in your hand, and it's going to highlight for you. And all you have to do is put at least a little bit of spray paint on there. You don't have to have an elaborate design or anything, which is kind of funny. And anytime I do get a text like that, I'm also going to add them to our stack of different people we're going to give stuff to, because an afternoon is a pretty long amount of time, and you can get a lot of deals done in that time. We can check our jars. We now have over 40 of them, which is very nice. Also, since we have more than enough money at this point, or at least we will in a second, I can finally just fill these people's lockers up with thousands of dollars. And then it's finally time to do deals. Sometimes people will show up before the deal even starts, so we can take them and we're going to give them all of these jars. Now, you want to do a maximum of 3 sets of jars, because if you do more, these people can have stuff in their pockets and they'll delete your jars, just like we did last time for the skateboard person. But the main way we're going to make money on this game is the generosity bonus. Yeah, the generosity bonus is just insane. And especially when you have 60 jars you give them, people are like, oh, you're so generous. Don't mind if I do just give you an extra like $3,000. And then we take it back from them, and it's that easy. Now, they do get upset that we do hit them with a frying pan, but it's not the biggest deal in the world, because while they do get upset, they're so happy with how generous we are that their feelings towards us aren't going to go down enough. They're still going to like us generally fine. And that means by far, this is the best way to get money, at least right now. There will be an even better way to get money later on, but we'll deal with that when we get to it. Also, by the way, I can talk to the payphone. We see that Uncle Nelson says, hey, you should start moving your stuff over towards this place above the Chinese restaurant. And to help us with that mission, we might as well buy another packaging station along with a mixing station. Now, one of the things that really holds you up in this game is experience. But by far, the best way to get experience in this game is the mixing station. So I'm going to deal with the moving up mission later on. For right now, I'm going to buy 2 large storage racks, and we're going to place them in our room like this. That way they can hold our mixing stuff. Then we can head over to the gas mart, realize that I must have taken out the person who is in charge of this. But then we can head over to the other gas mart and buy some stuff. We want to buy 20 of each type of mixing ingredient. So we just do that. It's not that expensive. And as we get more experience, we also unlock more mixing ingredients. So, you know, it just compounds on itself. So now what we can do is take some of our stray flowers and bring them over to this mixing station. Start with one thing. Like we do this soda, we place that in the jar, we place the flour in that jar, and we get that good to go. And that's going to give us a certain different time to strain. Then we can do the same thing. This time we're going to do it with a banana, repeat the same process, and just like last time, it's going to give us another different thing. So we can just keep doing this with more and more ingredients, and every single time we get tons of experience. And also you see we get the achievement of the chef one, where you get a strain that's worth over $100. So we were just going to get that eventually anyways. And we'll do this till 7 p.m. We'll set up our deals just like normal. And this is now going to get added into our just set of things we do. We set up deals, we launder money, we mix stuff until we're the right level. Also, once we do see that one of the mixes is too powerful to where you can't really add anything else to it, we'll start a new one and just do pretty much the exact same thing. Then right at 7, we're heading to bed, and we just got tons of experience, so we unlocked a lot of new stuff that we can actually use. Another thing we will want to do during this area is some more spray painting, just while we're waiting for deals. Now at this point, I had enough jars to where we wouldn't really need to worry about money, but what I did want is more flowers, because eventually we need to brick press these things so we can sell them for even bigger amounts. So I started moving those guys over. That way my botanists could still do their job, still make us some more flowers, and just be ready by the time we do have the brick press. I also remembered that I probably now had enough XP to actually get a better mixing station, so I made sure to pick that up, then realized I kept my inventory full. So goodbye to those guys. Maybe one day we'll pick you up again. But this mixing station is so much more convenient because we can just place our stuff in there, and instead of having to do anything manually, it just does all the work for us. Also, with our deals now, we're now up to pretty much $3,000 every single deal. We will be making a lot more money soon once we get all the required stuff. But hey, I'll take what I can get for now. That is some nice money, especially because we get all our product back anyways. Then after hitting people with a frying pan for a while, I also decided to set up this area too, just so we got the moving up mission done. Which then, after talking on a payphone to Uncle Nelson, he tells us we need to reach friendly relationships with Chloe, Ludwig, or Beth. And that's because it's going to allow us to unlock dealers, which we don't really care about, but you do have to unlock every single dealer in the game for 100%, so we will be doing it. Anyways, from here, it was just time to mix for the rest of the night, which meant getting a ton of XP. And we got a net worth of over 100k. Now, how net worth is calculated in this game is based on both your properties, your inventory, and the money you have. So the properties like our stash and dash and our money laundering stuff, that adds to our net worth, along with when we make product, and it's kept somewhere in one of our buildings. We do need 10 million by the end of this video, so you'll see how I get that. But for now, we can head over to the real estate office because we do have over 20k by the car wash, and that's gonna allow us to launder an extra $6,000 a day. So, you know, just keep adding to our laundering money collection. And our next purchase will be $50,000. So yeah, I'll just get there eventually. I also got this better packaging station because might as well, we can get some more samples that way. And I was able to go and grab even more mixing ingredients from the gas station because we just have all that money, including gasoline. Yeah, we're going to mix gasoline with our flowers. I'm sure it's safe. I wouldn't worry about it. Until we have all the XP we need, it's just mixing time. Oh yeah, another thing I did decide to do is go and head over to this Benzie car. Basically, they want us to work for them. This is the cartel in this game. And they're like, hey, we'll give you some money, but it's a really bad deal. So we tell them, hey, we're not going to work with you. And now they're hostile towards us. And that means that every once in a while, their people are going to try to attack us. So I do have to be ready for that. And one of the main missions in this game is taking out their cartel, so that'll be something we focus on eventually. Another important thing is once they were unlocked, I bought a couple of these drying racks. So with these, we could take a couple of our extra flowers and come over to our other apartment. And with these drying racks, we can just place them down wherever they need to go. And what these will do is they'll raise the quality of your flowers. So we can place them down on each of our drying racks. And then I had to come back here later because I forgot to hit the actual drying button. But it will make them into the top quality thing, that gold quality. And the reason we want to do that is then when we baggy them up and we give them as free samples, people will be more likely to actually become one of our customers. And that's especially important for our later customers because in the later regions, they get a lot pickier. Then later on, I got Urban Graffiti Artist by graffitiing 25 surfaces, so that was nice. And with that graffitiing, we also unlocked Downtown by lowering the cartel's levels. I'm not going to go over every region unlock we get, by the way. Just know we're going to keep doing it, and every time we do, we get more customers. Now another important thing is to unlock dealers or suppliers, you need to get one of their connections, like one of their friends to really trust you. And we don't really get much trust because we keep hitting people with pans. But like for this person, Chloe, a trick you can actually do is this pickpocket trick. By failing to pickpocket someone, you'll see that their trust with you actually goes up for some reason. And so we're going to use that. We can see that Chloe now really trusts us. So next time she orders from us, we're going to be able to get that dealer. And we can always do that trick anytime we want a new supplier or dealer. So yeah, it's pretty nice. Finally though, after a ton of mixing, I had the XP to unlock the brick press. And so each jar is able to put 5 flowers in it. But each brick has 20 flowers. So you can see why this is very valuable to get. We're just going to completely remove this packaging station, replace it with the brick press. We can put its destination to the same spot. We can assign our manager to it, and we can make sure our boy moves the flowers over towards that spot. And yeah, now we're good with that. And we can start making bricks, and that's really where you start getting a ton of money. I was then able to go ahead and go to Ludwig and actually get friendly relations with him, which is kind of funny because we did the trick with Chloe and not him, but for some reason it worked that way. Anyways, I'm not going to worry about it because that means we can now get a dealer. And also, I would very often check my other connections, like this guy right here. We know that he has a connection we want, so we're doing the pickpocket trick for him too. Then we can check on Westville. We can see that he can give us both a supplier and a dealer. So we really want this guy to like us. But yeah, not going to go over every single one of those just to show you how exactly we're doing it with all of them. And then we can go over to Benji's house, talk to him, say, hey, do you want to be one of my distributors? We have to pay him some money. And that's going to be that achievement. And then we can give him some items because basically we just need to get those missions done. We're never actually going to use our dealers though because they're just not worth it. It's way too much work. But I do have to do this for the tutorial. So we just set him up with some customers and eventually he'll sell those flowers. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention, but with the money in our bank as we laundered it, we also were able to buy the taco spot, which lets us launder $8,000 a day. And yeah, that really helps us towards our goals of getting all the rest of the properties we're going to need to get. So I won't go over them, but whenever we get more money, we'll unlock new properties, things like the stash and dash that you can use as hideouts. Eventually through our grinding, I was also able to unlock other suppliers, which lets us make new products, so I bought a bunch of stations for those. Then we could talk to Uncle Nelson on the payphone. He says, hey, you need to go make some crystals. So I placed down all of my different things just in this other house we recently bought with all the extra money we've been laundering. We could pick up the dead drop from the supplier, which is going to be these pills, pick up some specific ingredients from Oscar. Then we can go over towards this table and put these 3 ingredients in there. First of all, we're going to have to combine them all into a beaker. I kind of completely failed at that at putting all of those in, but it still works. We then have to mix that mixture around, bring down that boiling flask. That way we can actually pour the mixture in. It's kind of fun and relaxing to do this stuff in a game. Don't do this in real life, please. But then we're going to start the burner, which we have to have it on a fairly specific spot. Just want to keep it in that middle, and then you just have to wait for it to cook. Then once that's done heating up, we can then take that mixture and bring it over to the lab oven. We're going to open this guy up, pour it on the tray, and go and cook it, which again, you just have to wait a while for it to happen. I also, while I was there, picked up something for our mushrooms. We're going to sell some nice and tasty food mushrooms, and you know, we just like growing those because yeah, that was another supplier we unlocked at some point. Before the mushrooms as well, one other thing we want is the AC unit, and we can take this dead drop, which has all the things you need for the mushrooms. And so what we can do with this right here is we're gonna inject them with this tasty stuff to make them even more tasty and put them away because I forgot to get the mushroom bed. So the next day I came back here, this time with all the stuff we needed. But first of all, I was like, might as well and go and get our crystals. So we go smash those. That makes them, and that completes that mission. Now we can go ahead and with this mushroom spawner thing, we can place this mixture first, which we're just going to put down there so they have a nice place to grow. We can put down this AC unit because mushrooms do need to be made in a cold environment, and we can break these spawns, put them in the dirt. That way they'll start making their stuff. And then I realized I forgot a squirt bottle. I'm always forgetting something, I swear. But we can grab that from the hardware store. And also, while I was doing this, there were also some of the Benzies that were coming after me, which is really funny because we were just skateboarding past them. And a nice thing is that the police and the Benzies can't enter your safe houses, so they're not able to get in here. I knew I was perfectly fine to fill this up. We could go spray this, and this would make all the mushrooms that we needed. Then I checked out here. I saw that I had these baggies, and we wanted to get these as well because while having the flowers to give as free samples to people is nice, some people are not the biggest fan of flowers, so sometimes their odds of that happening is just going to be really low, and in that case we can use these crystals. So yeah, just 2 different options we can use as free samples for people. Soon I was also able to get the supplier for our Coca-Cola seeds, and with these I was actually just able to add them to our automation and have my workers do all that kind of stuff. Made sure to get them some extra fertilizer and soil as well, though I realized after the fact I definitely didn't need fertilizer because we're only using these ones for a very specific job. But whatever, we got them all their stuff, paid them their money, and then they could work on that. Next up, I finished up the missions with the mushrooms. We could just go snip those, and that finishes vibing on a cycle. And you can see we also unlocked the finishing the job. You unlock that when you lower the Benzi's influence enough in every region. So that is what we're going to need this Coca-Cola for. You need 20 of it to give to Billy. That way he gives you some explosives. I can also go ahead and talk to Sam because we're going to ask him to go and make a tunnel under the manor of the Benzi's, and he does it for $10,000. I have way more than enough money for that, so it's not even a problem. And another thing I needed to do was the missions for the cleaner and the chemist. So I got those guys as well, got them some lockers. And as you can see, they do have those missions. You just have to do what they say. Like for this cleaner, all I have to do is place down one of those trash cans, say, hey, I need you to clean anything in the area of this trash can. Then we place some money in their locker. And yeah, that's all you need for them. And then chemist, pretty similar stuff. We'll get that locker. We'll assign them to go over to this cauldron. And we don't ever actually use these guys. Like, we're just going to leave them there and not actually do anything with them, but we did need to finish those missions. Also, once we started having some Coca-Cola leaves, we could bring them over to this cauldron and also get the gasoline that we got as well, put that in there, and then that would start making up that stuff. All you got to do is then pour that gasoline in the cauldron, pick up a bunch of these leaves and put them in there as well, and then start it. And then again, it's kind of just a waiting game for a while. But then here's where something really dumb happened. So I was wanted and I went into my apartment. I could just go in there because no one was close enough to me. And I went to sleep thinking that this would get rid of my wanted level because obviously it would. But my wanted level was still there the next day and I didn't realize it at first. So I was like, oh, I guess there are cops after me. This guy shot me once. I was like, okay, you know, it'll probably be fine. I'll take his gun just in case we need it. And then I didn't want to waste any time on doing any of my laundering. So I was able to get in here, thankfully, because my employee did. And we could start up our laundering. And so at this point, I was like, okay, if I make it to my laundromat, I'm going to be fine. You can see police are nearby, but you know, it's probably going to be okay until they spawn in my laundromat and cuff me. And the thing is, because that happened, we lost all of our products. So what I had to do, I couldn't just lose that stuff. I definitely needed it to get all the achievements. I had to load from last save. But because some of our stuff finished laundering overnight, we just don't get the profits from those anymore because it's some glitch with the save system. So you'll see we now have less money than we did before and than we should have in our actual bank account. So yeah, it's going to be an extra day of laundering I have to do now. This really sucked. Anyways, back to our Coca-Cola. 20 leaves gave us 10 of that product, so we would need to do that 2 times. And next up, we would need to place them in the lab oven. So, you know, just same old, just moving this stuff over and then cooking that. And of course, we need a total of 20 of that to trade over to Billy. Then finally, once our stuff was done in the oven, we could then smash it with a hammer and we could baggy that stuff up for a total of 20 of these, which we could then bring over to Billy, give it to him, and in return, he gives us RDX. So we bring the RDX over to Stan and ask him to make us a bomb, but he says he'll help us if we kill a thief who keeps stealing his supplies at night. And while I was waiting, my chat did tell me that there was one more property that we might need to get. I'm not sure if this is actually part of the speedrun, but you can go into the sewers by pressing I'm stuck at that specific point, and that just puts you in here. And then we can go over to this spot where we just have to do the code 1111, which gives us this guy, but that technically gives us this property. So my crown now. Then I was just able to press I'm stuck once again, and we're back out. Now time for the second major bad thing that happened during this run. So we saw the thief. I decided to take him out and using my frying pan because I forgot at the time that the frying pan doesn't actually kill him. It only knocks him out. And the police were coming after me. But thankfully, since we had this building unlocked, we could just stay in here and they couldn't come after us. And then I was like, well, I need their guns to actually deal with this guy. That's probably the best thing to do. So now I went over to the police and I was like, I'll just take a gun. But then again, somehow I ran out of stamina again, wasn't able to get him off and we got cuffed. I lost all my stuff. And that meant I had to do this again another day. So after doing everything over again on that day, including getting the sewer place, don't worry, I didn't forget about that. We took out the dude with a machete, and there we go. That's all I needed to do the first time. That means we could then tell Stan that we did what we needed to do, and we are able to get him to turn that RDX into a bomb, meaning we can finally finish off the Benzies. So I went to sleep for a night, knowing that in the morning, they would finally be dealt with. Oh, that was also the $1 million achievement. We now have a net worth of $1 million. Took us 5 hours to get it this time, but the next 9 million will at least go by a lot faster. Now with our explosive, we can head over to the Highland Manor and we can bring it up here where all we have to do is place it and then wait 45 seconds. And this is also going to be the last property we need to get, which is $250,000. So we will have to wait a bit to do all that money laundering. And now from here, literally all we're doing is making sure we have every connection with every person in the city, making sure we launder our money, and we can work on the second part of our speedrun, which is getting the achievements. Now the achievement grind isn't technically part of the speedrun on the leaderboards. That's just something extra I'm doing. So first and foremost, I want to buy this building and get all my connections first. And then secondly, it's important to get a bunch of money. And another thing we can grind out in between our sales is the one achievement where you need to collect 500 pieces of trash and put them in the place where you can sell trash for money. So I bought a bunch of these trash grabbers and I just kept going to our storage unit and just taking all this stuff because there was so much trash made by our workers throughout this run. You can see I already pretty much cleared off this half, and then there's the whole other half. And then we can put that stuff in the cash for trash box, get money out of that. But more importantly, we just wanted the achievement. I had to go to some other areas for more trash too, because our stash and desk didn't have quite enough. But as you can see, we got the achievement after just a little bit. And finally, after some more waiting, we were able to purchase the manor, which was every property done. And we could call off our main speedruns time in 6:07:54. But I still needed to do all achievements. And I'm going to go over my general strategy for that. Now I allowed myself to take breaks for this part of the run because I didn't want to sit here for another 10 hours straight. That's why the camera is now off. I wasn't competing against anybody. This was just my personal achievement, so I didn't really care to do it all in one sitting, at least for the second part of this run of getting all the achievements. And our main strategy is literally the exact same thing we've been doing before. But one mistake I realized I was making is any customer that wants purple quality stuff, if you only give them 2 of the purple qualities and then 1 of the blue quality, we don't actually get our full generosity bonus. And this entire time, I had not realized that. Yeah, I was kind of kicking myself. So I set back up this farm to make sure I could get all these things up to have 20 stacks of all the purple quality stuff, and the full generosity bonus came right back for these guys. So yeah, if you decide to do this, do not make the same mistake I did. With this strategy, you can usually make 200 to 300k a day. And if you deal into the night like I did on this day, you can make upwards of 500k. So yeah, we were getting money fast. The one thing I would have done to change this though is use a more addictive strain. That maybe could have saved us time. Also, if you're wondering why we're not doing this with a higher value product like Coca-Cola, there's just no real point because the generosity bonus doesn't raise for higher value products. Another thing I decided to set up during my downtime was this Coca-Cola farm made by the YouTube channel Gopher. As you can see, we were able to get a ton of bricks just out of this. At first, I was going for higher quality stuff, but then looking into it, apparently higher quality stuff doesn't actually raise your net worth. So then I just started going for speed grow and the lowest quality stuff imaginable. Did this end up raising my net worth by that much? I think at least like 500k. But yeah, you can see at least we have a ton of these bricks. Now finally, after so much grinding, I went to sleep for the night. And once we woke up, we had the 10 million achievement. But the speedrun's not over just yet. And that's because you can skip the prologue in this game. So our very last achievement is going to be actually completing the prologue, funnily enough. Which, yeah, pretty fun side mission, but not too much to explain about this. I just did it as fast as possible. After doing a bunch of tasks, the police come and raid our Uncle Nelson, but we're able to escape away. So yeah, that's how this game actually kind of starts, which is funny because we do it at the end. And as soon as I saw the achievement popped up, I called off time 14:08:10. So that's all achievements, but for the actual 100% speedrun, we got 3rd place, and I'll take it. All right, subscribe if you enjoyed. Bye.